The courtroom buzzed with nervous energy long before the doors opened. When they finally did, Evan Mercer walked in like a king returning to his palace. Designer suit, expensive watch, smug grin. The mayor's son didn't glance at the bailiff or the judge's bench. He simply strolled to the defense table and sat down without permission, crossing his arms confidently. Whispers spread instantly. Judge Judy entered moments later. All rise. The courtroom stood in unison. Evan remained seated. Judge Judy stopped mid-step and stared directly at him. Stand up. Evan tilted his head. Why? You're not the mayor. A sharp intake of breath echoed across the room. Judge Judy removed her glasses slowly. I am a judge. You stand. Evan stood lazily, clapping once. Happy now? His lawyer whispered urgently. Evan, stop. Evan shrugged. Relax. She can't do anything to me. Judge Judy's voice was calm, but cutting. Sit down. Evan obeyed, smirking. Let's get this over with. Judge Judy opened the file. You are here for assault, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest. Evan laughed loudly. Arrest? Please. Those cops were overreacting. Judge Judy raised an eyebrow. You punched a security guard. Evan leaned back. He touched me. Judge Judy stared him down. He was doing his job. Evan scoffed. Everyone works for my father. The courtroom erupted in murmurs. Judge Judy slammed her gavel. Enough. Evan rolled his eyes. You don't scare me. Judge Judy leaned forward. You should be scared of your own mouth. She turned to the plaintiff, a bruised security officer standing stiffly. Tell me what happened. The officer spoke clearly. The defendant tried to force his way into a restricted area. When I stopped him, he shoved me and struck my face. Evan interrupted. Liar. Judge Judy snapped. You will not interrupt again. Evan smirked. Or what? You'll yell louder. Judge Judy's jaw tightened. I will do much worse. Evan laughed and stood abruptly. This is harassment. You can't touch me. He pointed around the courtroom. Do you know who my father is? Judge Judy stood as well. The room fell dead silent. Sit down. Evan didn't. No. Judge Judy turned to the bailiff. Arrest him now. The courtroom froze. Evan blinked. What? Judge Judy's voice thundered. Arrest the defendant for contempt of court. Evan stepped back. You're bluffing. The bailiff stepped forward. Evan raised his hands defensively. Don't touch me. Judge Judy didn't raise her voice. You were warned. Evan tried to laugh it off. My dad will destroy you. Judge Judy's eyes flashed. Threatening a judge is another charge. Evan's lawyer jumped up. Your Honor. Judge Judy cut him off. Sit down or join him. The bailiff grabbed Evan's arm. Evan jerked away. Get your hands off me. The courtroom gasped as Evan shoved the bailiff. Judge Judy slammed the gavel. That's it. Evan was handcuffed on the spot. His confidence shattered instantly. Wait, no, this isn't happening. Judge Judy spoke firmly. You screamed you can't be touched. You were wrong. Evan's face turned pale. Please, this is a misunderstanding. Judge Judy turned to the clerk. Add assault on an officer and obstruction. Evan's knees trembled. Dad. Judge Judy didn't flinch. Your father's title is irrelevant. The bailiff began escorting Evan away. Evan shouted wildly. You'll regret this. My father will. Judge Judy raised her voice just enough. Silence. Evan stopped instantly. Judge Judy continued. You walked into this courtroom believing power came from your last name. Today you learn it comes from a law. Evan struggled. You can't ruin my life. Judge Judy replied calmly. No, you did that yourself. She turned to the courtroom. This case will be forwarded to the district attorney. Bail is denied. Evan's eyes widened. Jail. Judge Judy nodded. Immediately. Evan collapsed in his sobs. Please, I'll behave. Judge Judy's voice was final. Too late. The doors closed behind him as he was dragged away. The courtroom remained silent. Judge Judy addressed the room. No one is above the law. Not sons. Not fathers. Not mayors. She banged the gavel. Court adjourned. Outside, Evan's screams echoed faintly down the hall, but inside the courtroom, justice stood unmoved, unbothered, and unbreakable. The hallway outside the courtroom erupted into chaos as Evan was dragged away, his polished shoes scraping helplessly against the floor. Reporters surged forward, cameras flashing, shouting questions that bounced off the walls. "Evan, is it true you threatened the judge? Does the mayor know?" Evan twisted his head wildly, trying to shout back, but the bailiff tightened his grip and pushed him through a secured door. Inside, the courtroom still hadn't recovered. People sat frozen, replaying what they had just witnessed. Judge Judy remained seated, composed, reviewing documents as if nothing extraordinary had occurred. The bailiff returned and stood at attention. "Your Honor," he said quietly. Judge Judy nodded once. "Proceed with the next case." A murmur rippled through the room. Someone in the audience whispered, "Did that really just happen?" Another shook their head. "The mayor's son. Arrested. Right here." Judge Judy looked up sharply. "This is a courtroom, not a theater," she said. "If anyone else is confused about where they are, now is the time to leave." No one moved. Across town, Mayor Richard Mercer stared at his phone as it rang nonstop. His assistant hovered nervously. "Sir, it's all over the news." The mayor's jaw tightened as he watched a clip replaying Evan shouting, followed by Judge Judy's command. "Arrest them now." The room felt suddenly smaller. "Give me my lawyers," the mayor snapped. Back at the courthouse, Evan sat in a holding cell, the metal bench cold against his back. His confidence had evaporated, replaced by disbelief and fear. "This is insane," he muttered. "She can't do this." A guard outside the bars glanced at him. "She already did." Evan clenched his fists. "My father will shut this down." The guard shrugged. "Your father doesn't decide what happens in a courtroom." The words hit Evan harder than the handcuffs. Hours later, Evan was brought back briefly for processing. Judge Judy was still on the bench, wrapping up the final cases of the day. When Evan's name was called, he looked smaller somehow, shoulders slumped, eyes darting. Judge Judy looked at him without anger, without satisfaction, just clarity. "Mr. Mercer," she said, "you have been charged with contempt of court, assault on an officer, and making threats against the judiciary. You will remain in custody pending transfer." Evan swallowed hard. "Your Honor, I didn't mean..." Judge Judy held up a hand. "Meaning is irrelevant. Actions matter." Evan's voice cracked. "I've never been treated like this before." Judge Judy nodded. "That is painfully obvious." The courtroom was silent. "Do you have anything intelligent to say before you're removed?" Evan hesitated, then shook his head. Judge Judy leaned back. "Then we are done." The gavel struck. Evan was led away again, this time without resistance. Outside, the mayor finally arrived, pushing through security with his legal team. "Where's my son?" he demanded. A deputy answered calmly. "In custody." "I want to see the judge," the mayor said. Immediately, he was escorted into the empty courtroom. Judge Judy stood, gathering her files. The mayor tried to speak, but she cut him off before he could finish a sentence. "This is not a meeting," she said coolly. "This is a courtesy." The mayor bristled. "My son was humiliated."